In 2014, Machine Games released a reboot of Wolfenstein in Wolfenstein: The New Order. New Order was about as campy as you could expect from a game whose main character is named BJ Blazkowicz. Its trophies were easily cheesed. The hardest difficulty was easily duped by only playing the last checkpoint on the hardest setting, even if the earlier sections of the game was played on the easiest one. The game's standalone expansion, The Old Blood, had the same issue, though that at least had challenge maps that were pretty tough. But both games had a reputation for being relatively easy platinums. I can only assume that Machine Games heard the trophy hunters laughing. A normal company might patch the game to take away this glitch, but then that spits in the face of everyone playing after the patch is released. Really, the only fair thing to do is to fix it in a new game. Enter Wolfenstein II: The New Colossus, and its trophy Mein Leben. The trophy description reads, "Beat the game on Mein Leben difficulty." Doesn't sound that menacing. What the description doesn't tell you is that everything is the same as the difficulty before it, I Am Death Incarnate, with one notable exception. You only have one life. It also doesn't mention that you only have one sitting, no quitting a dashboard, no cloud saving. We're not going to put up with those shenanigans in this trophy. But when the trophy list was first released, all we had was that description, and the fact that it was a bronze grade. Surely a cruel joke by a sadist developer sick of getting laughed at. But at the time, we were innocents. Looks pretty standard list. Doesn't look challenging. The My Leben trophy is only a bronze. Can't be a one life deal. Looks like a good list. But too many collectible related trophies for my liking. Hope the higher difficulty trophies are a challenge. As games go, the previous two Wolfensteins were easy platinums. I cannot imagine that this one will be much different. By the time we knew the truth, the Weenie Hut Juniors were bailing. The trophy was too hard for them and scared them off from even buying the game, let alone attempting it. Petitions sprang up around the internet to at least add a save at some point in the game, similar to Dead Space. They claimed the desire came from a place of time management and that they simply didn't have the time to sit and attempt a trophy for hours at a time. An opinion that I could get behind if the PS4 didn't come with a rest mode for exactly this purpose. Whatever, I was buying the game either way, even if there was a trophy I wouldn't be able to handle. I started the game on Bring 'em On, the game's normal setting, and 3 difficulties lower than the hardest, 4 from Mein Leben. But by the end of the game, I had to turn it even lower. It was just too hard for me, and I wasn't the master gamer that I thought I was. I wrote Mein Leben off as impossible for me, and moved on to other games. You see, I didn't see much point in even getting the collectibles if I wasn't going to get the platinum, but inspiration would strike a year and a half later. Wolfenstein Youngblood was coming out, and I always wanted to revisit the new Colossus. As if spurred by the same sense of urgency, multiple posts in the trophy subreddit included people getting Mein Leben, some claiming to have done it in as few as 3 attempts. Looks like the time was now. There'd be enough resources to try to tackle Mein Leben for myself.
Hello, big boy. Come and test the old man's mettle.
I started my journey by watching Big Bossheim Beamer's 3-hour video. I'm not above using glitches to skip sections, especially when the trophy doesn't fight fair anyway, and this video details full level skips, including multiple Panzerhound fights. Then I replicated the video myself by playing on I Am Death Incarnate. The goal was to see if Mein Leben was even reasonable, and if it wasn't, I would stop right there. But I wound up dying only a handful of times, and most of the time was from stupid BS anyway. This didn't seem to be the behemoth that I had remembered. After that run, I was really only worried about 2 sections. The first was the courthouse scene. There's almost no cover, you don't have your guns of choice, everyone's already alerted when you start. It's the worst fight in the game. Never mind that narratively, it shouldn't matter if you die, since, spoilers, it's a dream anyway. The second was the final fight. There's a lot of enemies, and the robotic ones basically instant kill you. If you're careful, they won't hit you, but I expected by this point in Mein Leben I'd be pretty jittery. In the end, neither of these proved to be a problem. Instead, it was my own hubris. Makes sense, I guess. The confidence was back on from that run. My first attempt made it all the way to Roswell, about an hour into the game, where I accidentally alerted everyone in sight. They killed me in 2 seconds. My 4th attempt got me shaking before the courthouse, and I died in BJ's childhood home. Didn't even make it. It wasn't until my 10th attempt that I made it to the courthouse, and I beat it first try, then proceeded to get killed by a dog at the very beginning of the very next level. Every attempt brought with it 30 minutes of unskippable cutscenes. Every failure was a hit to my self-esteem and my confidence. Attempt 13 made it all the way to the very end. To the second to last fight of the game even. I proceeded to fall off the ship and kill myself. I wouldn't make it that far again until attempt 22. Where I would make the exact same mistake in the exact same spot. Keep in mind that this is over 3 hours into the game, but I was incredibly close twice, and at this point, despite failing, I knew the trophy was possible. It was only time now. And finally, run number 29 was the one.
Lady, that's the best you got. Then your best won't do. You among wolves now. These are our words.
Now, if there's one thing I want you to get from this video, it's that this trophy's primary challenge is fear. I didn't even attempt Mein Leben the first time I was playing the game. It just seemed impossible. A year and a half later, I'm here to say it is possible, and if you're able to do the research, persevere through devastating losses, and just get a little bit lucky, you can get this one too. I guess I should mention other trophies in this game. There's a lot of collectibles, like an unreasonable amount of collectibles. Maybe not unreasonable. There's a lot. You should use a guide.